Welcome in and welcome back, everybody, to the MLS Live podcast. I am Cooper at Sports Profit. With me, as always, is my co-host Garrett at Just Some Footy. It is now week 14. Last week, I think we were 2-2, roughly break even. Losing weeks have been pretty far. What's the term?
Few and far between.
Few and far between. Yeah, I'm not thinking straight here at the end of the day, but it's been a good season so far, so we'll look to keep it going. We both have a match that we want to watch.
I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm good now.
Well, yeah, but I bet you're gonna watch it. Yeah, the El Tráfico U.S. Open Cup. But we don't have any player news today. Nothing really that jumped out for us to talk about. So we can just jump right into match predictions for week 14. Garrett, you're going to have the first two, and then I'll give mine because I only have one, and then we'll get to the fourth.
Oh, righty. Then I'll jump right in. I'm just going to go with played them last show. I'm going to be on them again this show. It's DC United. I'm taking their draw, no bet. Toronto are dead last in the East. They have a losing against the spread record at home, which is 2-4-1. Happens to be their same actual record at home, 2-4-1. And DC's against the spread record away is 4-3. Pretty good for an away side in MLS to be covering the spread at a positive percentage like that. And DC isn't a bad road team. They're the third best road team in the East with a 2-2-3 record. We've talked about how home teams have just an out-and-out advantage in MLS throughout the course of the year. And the stats show that here. Toronto, their home expected goal total is 1.38. Their home expected goals against or conceded is only a 1.04. DC United, their away expected goals is only a 1.03. Expected goals against when they're on the road is a 1.1. So the stats actually favor Toronto here, but a draw would not surprise me. And the reason why I'm leaning DC draw no bet as opposed to Toronto or playing Toronto some way is I think DC has the advantage in the midfield with Knuth, O'Brien, and Klitsch has kind of been playing more forward. It depends if Fontes is healthy. If he's healthy, they'll go back to like a 4-2-2. If he's still out, they'll do a little variation that they've been doing when he misses games. But those three all have European experience. Going up against a Toronto midfield of Servania and your favorite Mark-Anthony Kaye. They're missing Osorio. They're missing Michael Bradley, both due to injuries. They're not going to be back for this game. Like I said, Fontes might be back. Toronto they're drawing so much this season that I'm going to take this draw no bet for what I think is the better team with the better midfield. I'm a big lover of midfields, right? Like that's where your goals start to get created is through your midfield. I think they have an out-and-out advantage here in the midfield with DC United. And so plus money for the draw protection, which Toronto seems to always try to snag a point at home. I like where this is headed.
Yeah, I like where it's headed too. And we've talked about DC United as a team that we feel like we can kind of ride the wave, as they start to crescendo and start to really hit their stride as a team. They've had parts. Those parts are coming together. We like Rooney. We like the way that he's building, the style that this team plays with. And it feels like we're starting to kind of get to that wave where these guys are going to cover some spreads and win us some money. And then obviously, the big story here, plenty of rumblings and maybe some roars in regards to Insigne not being happy with Bob Bradley. I saw some stories on that today, basically. And I think yesterday too, Insigne is basically saying, I don't want to play for this guy. Like they're locking.
Insigne, and I didn't mention this, but Insigne chirped at the beginning of the season. This week, Bernardeschi has been chirping. So you've got both your Italian stars calling out the coach. Basically, there's just a lot of dysfunction. I don't know if Bob's lost the locker room yet or not, but it's definitely close, man. Like these guys came in to win, and you're dead last in your conference. It's not a good look. So yeah, they've got their own adversity they're fighting through, which I like. That's another reason why I like DC United. I didn't want to. That's not a great I guess like talking point for me from an analytical standpoint. We're just talking about dysfunction in the locker room and stuff, but it does play a part in how that team plays on the field in that 11. So both your stars chirping. It's not a good look right now for Bob Bradley.
7, 8. Yeah, and then I'm looking too. DC United undefeated in 7 of their last 8. So obviously playing good soccer at the moment. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to make the whole handicap about dysfunction on the Toronto side, but it's something worth noting. You want to be aware of it, and it doesn't hurt you. It's nothing that's going to hurt the DC United side here. So I'm on board. I like it. I like the push protection on. I like the price. And I like this next play, which is also yours, going to St. Louis here.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on St. Louis, both teams to score plus over 2.5 at a nice -120. St. Louis, their overs at home are 5-1 this season. It's interesting because their home both teams to score percentage is only at 50% of their home games. Is that hitting? But the kicker here is what Vancouver's bringing to the table with their away both teams to score percentage at 83%. Now their over record right now when on the road is only 3-3, but St. Louis expected goals conceded or expected goals allowed is at a 19.2, which is eighth worst in the league. And then we get to Vancouver, and we've talked about Vancouver in their analytics, right? Their expected goals at 21.8 is third best in the league. When they're on the road, their expected goals against per game is a 1.41. So here I've got it set up to where I think both teams to score comes through. Somebody's got to find a winner, though. And I really like how we're looking at St. Louis ready to have some regression there on the defense. Vancouver lets in a lot on the road, at least from an expected goal total. So there's definitely the potential there for somebody to nab 2 or more. So I really like the price here instead of playing like the over 2.75 or the over 3 at plus money. I'm pretty confident both teams to score here, and I just need somebody to bag another one.
Yeah, I like it too. I do think that, like you said, I think you said it. St. Louis has been due for a little bit of negative regression defensively. Some of that started to come through a little bit. And obviously the style that St. Louis City plays, we've talked about that a lot this season. I think it creates a matchup where we're going to get some end-to-end soccer. And that's a lot of fun. Vancouver, one of the top goal scoring teams from an analytical standpoint this season. Backed them last week, them and Seattle on the over 2.5. Vancouver did their part. They bagged 2 for us. Seattle did not do their part, so that game ended 2-0, which was a total bummer. I think we were at 2-0 shortly after the first half, shortly into the second half, I should say, and couldn't get the third. But yeah, Vancouver, we both like this team. This is an opportunity for them to go on the road and, I guess follow through on some of the numbers that they've shown us this season. Like we're ready to see it. Go do it on the road and perform. I think this is an exciting matchup. 2 fun teams that like to get after it and create chances. So I think the chances will be there. And obviously that's why you're on it. We just need these guys to do their job and finish those chances. So
yeah, I'm pretty confident in the opportunities. It's just, I need them to put in the net, or I need St. Louis to keep doing its big energy drink soccer and put it in the net on their end.
Yeah, and I think they will. So definitely another good look here. I've got one pick for the show today, and this is one that shame on me, basically, but I'm letting it rip. Sporting Kansas City. not necessarily the best team in Major League Soccer by any means this year, but I don't need them to win. I'm not backing them to win. I'm not even backing them full game, by any means here. I need Sporting Kansas City to score me a goal in the first half, and they're hosting Portland here. I think they're going to. The Sporting Kansas City team, as bad as they've been, once they got Johnny Russell back, once they got Polito back, Polito got his goal against Seattle. That attack, and how they mesh with the midfield, they've looked more comfortable. They have seemed to turn a corner. The last 4 games I'm looking at here, 2-1 at Seattle, 3-0 at home versus Minnesota in a game which they created 4 big chances, 1-1 at LAFC. That was a big result. Even the Seattle result was big, the LFC result was big, and then they go on the road in what seems to be a rivalry game now, according to Twitter. St. Louis City, they get drubbed 0-4. But they've created 9 big chances in their last 4 games. They have scored, 2, 5, 6. So they've scored 6 goals in their last 4 games. They only scored 3 goals in the first 10 games of the season. So I think they have turned somewhat of a corner here. And I'm going to be totally honest. I would probably be okay with fading either of these teams on the road. Like if Kansas City was on the road at Portland, I might be willing to fade them here. But specifically, I like Sporting Kansas City. I feel like they've turned a corner. I feel like at home, they looked good against Minnesota. They have their injury problems are not as big of a deal right now. And Portland is one of those defensive units that we talked about. The Montreals, the Charlottes, the Salt Lakes. Portland is right there with those guys. They're pretty bad defensively. So I'm going to take Sporting Kansas City to come out hot. Attack a vulnerable defense and knock one in the first half, because I think that they have looked better. And the Major League Soccer season and other soccer seasons, they're full of waves. Teams get better and teams go through slumps, and I think I'm catching KC at the right time here.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. I like fading Portland on the road. I'm never going to knock that. Sporting KC has been scoring more, but that's also aligned with them getting healthy. Kenda coming back in the midfield. He seems to have been the only creative piece out there at times. So they sorely missed him. So him being back the past couple of games has definitely helped. Polito's back, and he's slowly working his way back to full game fitness. You can still tell, he's not the Polito of old. Like, he's missing a step. And part of that, I think, is just working his way back up to fitness. It's hard to say if he'll ever be, what he was when KC brought him over originally, after just basically 2 seasons of not playing because of injuries. But this one's interesting because this is the Sunday matchup, and KC play on that Wednesday, I believe. Yeah. So 2 days off and then another game. Both those games are at home, which helps. There's no travel involved. So if KC rotates at all, I would expect it to be minimal as they prepare for Tuesday. But they know they got to get points. Every game's important. And KC's already at that point where you just got to tell guys to dig deep, and y'all are going to have to play on short rest, and he's got to play his best players. Because there's nothing that says PV gets out of this season, right? Like the coach, if he signed a huge extension this offseason, or just this past offseason. And I don't know if he's able to make it the rest of the season if they don't turn it around and keep this momentum going that they started building up with some scoring and stuff. They still don't look good. Neither one of these teams look good from my standpoint. But at home, first half, this is a really good price.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned it or not. Another thing that doesn't hurt our cause here is Sporting Kansas City is out of the U.S. Open Cup, so they're going to be on 7 days rest here. They're going to be fully rested. No midweek game for Kansas City, so this will be their total focus here. And Portland is also out, but no short rest situations for Kansas City. All right. This next play, Garrett's last play, might be my favorite of all the show plays for this week. So looking forward to hearing you break this one down.
So yeah, the last play I'm going to be on is Nashville, both teams to score at a lovely -120. And this actually I might be laying more on this because I expect the Crew to rotate tomorrow, playing a USL side and having short rest going into the weekend. So I expect them to move some starters around. But with Nashville rotating heavily tonight in the Cup game, we're probably going to add more to this within the next 24 to 36 hours. But so if you're following me on Twitter, you will see that if it happens. But I'll just jumping right into why I love this spot. Guess who has the highest expected goals when they're playing at home?
I don't know.
It is surprisingly Nashville.
Is it really?
Yes.
I thought that had to be a trick question. Wow.
No, they have 15.1 expected goals at home this season for a nice 1.88 goals a game as far as expected. Now, their defense is solid all season long. They've shown that even at home. At home, you're only giving up 0.91 goals against expected in 8 games this season. But they've only conceded 4. Bring in the Columbus Crew traveling to Nashville this weekend. They've got the 4th best expected goal total in the league at 21.2. When they're on the road, their expected goals is still, for a roadside, healthy 1.22. That's a healthy expected goal total when you're on the road. And then the expected goals against when they're on the road is a 1.43. So I love that for whoever they're playing to score. In fact, Crew both teams to score when they're on the road is hitting at 67%. And the Crew have only failed to score in 8% of their games so far this season. So this is a spot where I think you're going to have 2 strong offenses. Nashville playing a counterattacking style to the Crew's heavy possession style. I fully expect the Crew to dominate possession even on the road in this game because that's just what Nancy has installed and the Crew have adapted to so quickly. And Nashville is totally okay with that. They are totally down to sit back and just let you make a mistake and counter you. And that's why they have such a strong expected goals total at home this season. And so, yeah, with expecting Columbus to rotate, I can probably tell you that this is going to be a 2-unit play for me at least. But yeah, dude, the numbers love this, man.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good that the numbers are backing this. I think from just a traditional gut handicapping perspective, this is solid too. This one jumped out at me as well. Totally. I mean, that is a little bit surprising that Nashville is that high on the home expected goals list. I mean, they have been really good at home, and there has seemed to be a big distinction, between the way they play on the road and at home for sure. One thing about Nashville too, I think that they have gotten a little bit better, even maybe after they got rid of Sapong. I feel like they have just been a little smoother and a little more comfortable.
That pretty much coincided with a formation change.
Okay, so that makes sense.
They switched to like this diamond midfield, and yeah, it gives them passing lanes basically everywhere. Like almost everywhere are triangle forms, right? And you've got passing lanes to make moves. And so the ball is constantly moving, which is key when you're on the counter. You need to be able to go quick and direct and to have these open passing lanes. And so, yeah, I think the Sapong deal just sealed the move to this new formation, which has worked out great for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just maybe a better fit for their current roster. And then on the Columbus side, yeah, I did look. Only 1 in 15 games this year have they not scored. So that's a pretty high percentage. Another thing to consider is they played a lot of their games this season without Zeller, without Cucho. So both of those guys are back now. You're going to have 2 full-strength teams playing each other. And this is one that I would not be surprised to see the price go up on. Up is in get juicier, and I think the total will get steamed to the over as well. I like the 2.5. I like both teams to score. I will be on this as well, and this is probably my favorite play of the show. So
Yeah, I
Um,
had to give this price before Nashville's lineup came through, and so with them rotating and being out of the cup now, yeah, this is probably going to get more action from me.
yeah, I definitely, and that's another thing too. It's the U.S. Open Cup week, so we will definitely be doing roster checks, and that will have some level of effect on plays come Saturday. If I have any ads, Garrett has already got 3 plays for us. I've only got 1 for the show, so if I have any ads, I will do. I'll post on the MLS Live podcast page on Twitter. Make sure y'all are following at MLS Live Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel, which is Sports Profit TV. The thumbs up is also very helpful. And if you guys ever have any questions, we've got a live chat going. We have comments, so you can leave us a comment underneath. I do my best to try to respond to everybody in the comments. We appreciate everybody that's been tailing this season. And it's been a great season, so we'll look to keep that going for week 14.
We're only 40% done.
Yeah, we're not even at the halfway mark, so we got a lot of fun. Jose tuning in as always. Appreciate you, bud, and everybody else that tunes in on a regular basis. So, Garrett, any closing remarks?
No, as always, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your support and best of luck to all your bets this weekend.
We'll see y'all next week.